Welcome back to the 1111 Club. I'm so glad you're here, especially for this one, because we are diving into something that touches so many of us. What happens when we stop people pleasing and start honoring our truth? Now, not in a dramatic, cut people off kind of way, but in a deeply embodied, sacred kind of way. I'm out here braving the black flies just for you. This is the kind of medicine that changes your nervous system, your relationships, and your life. I want to tell you something that happened about a month ago. I was invited on a podcast and I was really excited at first. I love talking about my work, I love the deeper conversations. But from the moment we started and got on a call together, it felt off. The host hadn't really looked into what I do. She talked a lot about herself, and honestly, I barely got a word in. There was a lot of swearing, actually. And while I don't mind the odd, F-bomb in real life, it was excessive and kind of messy and a little chaotic. And halfway through, I thought, oh, maybe this isn't the actual recording. This is just the warm-up. But then an hour went by and she said goodbye, and I realized that was the episode. Okay. So the old me would have promoted it anyway. Would have said yes out of politeness, I suppose. Would have overridden the discomfort because, well, who am I to be picky on what podcasts I go to? That's an old way of thinking. But I took a breath and I sat on it for about 24 hours. And I sent her a message and I gently and clearly said that I didn't feel comfortable sharing it. And do you know what she said? Because I was a little nervous. She said, "I'm in love with you standing in your authority. I'm learning to do that for myself. Thank you for being you." And it cracked me wide open. Here's the thing. People pleasing seems harmless and even kind sometimes, but when we do it for decades, it chips away at our health, our clarity, and our confidence. And it shows up in so many different ways. It's when you say yes when your gut is screaming no. You feel resentment building in your body even when you're smiling. You get physically sick more often because you're out of alignment. You feel invisible in relationships, like no one really knows you because they don't. You're not showing people your authentic self, so they can't get to know and love and trust you. You lose track of what you even want. And the wildest part, you're often praised for it. For being easygoing, accommodating, low maintenance. And behind the scenes, your nervous system is screaming for congruence. Mine used to be. Because when your words say yes, but your body says no, that's misalignment. And misalignment creates internal stress. And over time, that stress becomes disease. So let's try something together. I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. And we're going to check in for your truth. So sit comfortably, hand over your heart or your belly, whichever is more comfortable. And I'm going to get you to inhale slowly through your nose for the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale through the mouth for a count of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's do it again. Inhale for 4. Exhale 6. Good. Now whisper softly to yourself, What does a yes look like in my body? So I want you to notice it. Yes, 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 yes. Where do you feel the softness, the openness, maybe a quiet excitement? Now ask, where in my body do I hear a no? No, 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 no. Notice again tightness, heaviness, discomfort, shallow breath. There's no need to fix anything, just feel what's your yes, what's your no. Because your body always knows. You've just been taught to ignore it. Take a deep breath here and release. When we start choosing truth over being someone else or performing, magic happens. I don't just mean the energetic kind, although that's a very real byproduct as well. I mean practical shifts. You stop over explaining yourself. You start getting clearer about your time, your energy, your values. People start respecting you because they can feel that clarity and that authenticity. And then you start magnetizing aligned opportunities, aligned clients, aligned conversations and meetings. Now, it doesn't mean that everything's easy. In fact, at first, it's really flippin' uncomfortable because it's so not your default. But over time and consistency, choosing that alignment builds self-trust, which we've talked about before. And when you trust yourself, your nervous system relaxes, your relationships deepen, and your work becomes an expression of truth, not obligation. Well, before the sun sets completely, I want to leave you with some reflection questions. Feel free to grab a journal or simply just sit with them and see what comes up. The first one is, where in my life am I saying yes when I want to actually say no? What would it look like to honor my truth, even if it disappoints someone? You can pause in between this, write them down, and come back to them if you'd like. Or just notice what your gut response is to this. Where do I feel proud of a recent boundary I set? What is one aligned action I can take this week, even if it's small? I'm going to read them again because I think these are really important. Where in my life am I saying yes when I want to say no? What would it look like to honor my truth, even if it disappoints someone? And anyone, mom, dad, best friend, what does that look like? Where do I feel proud of a recent boundary that I've set? And what is one aligned action I can take this week, even if it's small? You don't have to yell to be powerful. You don't have to justify your no to deserve peace. A no is a complete sentence. You just have to listen, really listen to your body and your knowing. Because your truth, that's your medicine. That's what's going to heal on the deeper level. And when you honor it, you give others permission to honor theirs. You become the catalyst, the ripple. I'm so proud of you for doing this work, and I'll see you next week.